you'd be moved aside, right? To put it mildly and to be very polite. So, if I value myself and we value you as human capital, as your assets or your smarts and your life skills and your life lessons and all those things, and your worth is based on how you value yourself rather than how some external faceless corporation values you or how society values you, you value yourself, you put a worth on your skills and your human assets, then we move into a different world, and that's the world we're moving into. We're moving into, now let me wrap up with a simple thing. Not a simple thing, but let me wrap up with our belief. Now, we could be wrong about all this, right? I'm not saying that we're right about everything. We could be totally wrong. The guy who was saying, let's live in a financial world, the old world with a financial system and real estate being real estate, housing and buildings, and pay people wages and minimum wage and all that. There are a lot of people who believe that system, including especially conservatives and the Republicans, right? And I don't knock them, I'm just saying they believe that. And they want that system to keep going and keep going. Just like back in the day when slavery was over, there were a lot of people, multitudes of people, who wanted the slavery system to continue. It's astonishing. These are human beings. And so even though we're changing and society is changing, there are a lot of people who want things to remain the same way they were before. Most likely people who are benefiting from that system. But we're different, right? Now the new system we're moving into, the new world we're moving into, who owns tomorrow? Future wealth is all about tomorrow. And what tomorrow is going to be like, I leave you with this. Well, maybe another 5 minutes. But what that system is going to be like is what Zuckerberg was talking about, the metaverse. There are over 1,000 companies in the world, apart from Facebook, that are working to bring about the metaverse, which is it's a coined word that came out of a book. Stevenson, Neil Stevenson, I think the guy's name is, who wrote a book about the metaverse and stuff that Zuckerberg read, and that's why he's changing Facebook and rolling it out. Because even I talked about this before, it astonishes me that the world that we live in came out of fiction, out of novels. Elon Musk, whole exercise to go to Mars and all that, came out of a book that was published in the 50s, a fictional novel. Now we see metaverse, the same thing with Facebook. But I want to, human capital, human assets, worth and value changing from what it was to what it's going to be in terms of, it's already happening in sports. The way an athlete is, they value or put worth on an athlete, or some entrepreneur or a professor at university who gets tenure and gets security in their job and all that. That's the way every human being will be in the world that we're advancing into. And here's the world we're advancing into. The world that we're moving into is moving away from what is called real estate or reality, being only physical space. This is a key concept, and we'll keep repeating it over and over and over till we get it, till it becomes epiphany and aha moment for us. But the world that we're moving into, here's what it is. It's a different reality. It's a completely different reality. It's a reality that is not based on physical space and physical stuff and even physical humans. This is astonishing, and you won't believe me. You would say this guy is talking nonsense, but trust me, that's what's coming. The new world we're moving into, reality is changing. We're changing reality. The new world we're moving into is virtual reality. So it is a type of reality. So we hear the word VR or virtual reality and we say it's not real. But the word reality is there. It's as real as ever. That world that the technology companies are now building, which is a virtual reality, where you and I would be animated characters in the metaverse space. It's a new space. People will buy land and property in that space. People with the NFT, the whole global movement right now on NFT, you know what about NFT with cryptocurrency? Maybe if you're not in this space, you might not know what it is. NFT is non-fungible token, which is a new form of wealth that is trading with cryptocurrencies, and people are buying and selling every day millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. every single day in NFTs, and it's a new form of money, it's a new form of wealth, where you can create something on the computer, like a little emoji or some graphic, and you sell it for, people are selling these things for $5 million. And nobody understands it. Well, I can't say nobody. The average person, the common man on the street, has no clue what's going on. They're baffled. They're like, what is that? What is NFT? What is even cryptocurrency? What is those things, right? And here's what it is. It's the new world. It's virtual reality. Everything is, we're creating a new space with internet language, binary, and eventually moving into quantum computing, where that space of the digital world becomes more real than this physical space. Now you might say to me, why would you do a talk show, and be talking about these things because they might be 50 years from now? No. Less than 5 years, less than 10 years. That's the world we're living in. We're already moving into that world. We're moving into a world where one day you would wake up. Within a very short time, we would have these glasses, VR glasses, put our glasses on, and our screen appears in front of us. Our phone appears, and we won't have screens anymore. The metaverse is getting rid of screens and computers and all those things, because everything is going to show up in front of you, right? It's a new virtual reality space. Now we can ignore these things. We can walk away from these things and say, you know what, whatever those guys are doing, let's just do our thing and live our small lives and make our living, drive our little cars. Whenever they get rid of gasoline cars, so okay, we'll get a gasoline, an electric car, or we can get our Tesla car now, or whatever, right? We can say, life is too big for us. The world is too big for us. Let them do their thing. We're going to live our small lives and just be victims and just be subjects and go with the flow. That's not us. If you're part of the Qualped life and you want to be a part of the Qualped life, we're blazing new trail. We want to be there in the forefront of on the frontier of the new world that is coming into being. Here is that world that is coming into being. I really hope you listen to me to the end of this show. And if you haven't, well, you wouldn't even know I'm saying this, right? But hopefully you would have listened to me in this show and hear what I'm saying. Here's where we are right now, my people and my friends. And this is why we're doing what we're doing. There's a whole new world opening up, a whole new universe opening up. Just like happened 500, 600 years ago when Columbus in 1492 discovered the Americas. Remember, Europe was Eurocentral. Everything was around Europe and Asia, right? That was the old world. Nobody in Jesus' time, for example, or back in biblical days, or even 1,000 years ago in the Roman Empire, nobody knew, well, and I won't get into the argument that people discovered America way back then, blah, blah, blah. Before Christopher Columbus discovered America, and before people like Marco Polo went out on excursions discovering new lands and all that, nobody knew these places existed. You had indigenous tribes like the tribes of Peru, and I forget the name of them. But they inhabited the land. Yes, there was a civilization, but the world didn't integrate with Americas. The Americas didn't exist on the face of the map, on the face of the earth. Well, it did exist, but they didn't know it existed. And so Christopher Columbus, Marco Polo, and all these explorers went out from Spain, from Spanish Empire, British Empire, French Empire, the Portuguese Empire, and they found this land, right? They sailed the seas, and the classic thing is they found the Caribbean, and they call it the West Indies. They thought it was the western part of India. And then the Portuguese conquered Brazil. That's why Brazil speaks Portuguese today. Much of Latin America and South America, Spain conquered, so they speak Spanish. The one country in South America, Guyana, which speaks English, was conquered by the British, took over from the French and the Spanish and the Dutch. The Dutch conquered Suriname, which is Dutch. They speak Dutch today. My point is, the same thing that happened 500-600 years, only 500-600 years ago, when these lands were discovered, these new parts of the world, the same thing is going on today. We have new explorers going out, and they're discovering this is such a crucial idea, and maybe I should spend another show on the whole thing, talking about it, because there are new explorers and discoverers going out, and they're discovering this whole new world, and it's called virtual reality. And in the metaverse, you would have people trading land and assets, like is going on right now with NFT. And the common man, the average person, doesn't even know what NFT is yet, or the value of crypto. There's a lot of mystery about it still. But for a lot of people, crypto and NFT are already making life so powerful and influential. Not because they're making money with it, but because of the influence they're developing. And you're playing in that space, virtual reality, and you're owning sections of virtual reality, the virtual landmass, the virtual space that is now opening up. And the discoverers who are discovering this new thing, this new space, this new universe, this new way of life, of course, are the big technology giants. People like Zuckerberg and Bezos and Jack Ma at Alibaba, and Apple people and all those people, the big technology guys, the thinkers, the originators, the solution generators, the enterprise builders. Those are the ones who are the new explorers, the new Marco Polo and the new Christopher Columbus, who are discovering this whole new world. And the whole new world is no longer real estate. When I say to my real estate friends that soon enough we will see laws changed in cities, it's already happened in one city in New York, where in cities in countries around the world where we would see laws change, they would say to governments, would say to every house owner, every building owner for commercial buildings, that you have to change your building from a carbon producing building, from this old technology where it's a dead building because it gives off too much pollution. You got to change it into a smart building and have temperature control and Google Nest and all those things. Make it into a smart building. Your lights are eco-friendly and all that, right? Your heating system and everything. When the laws are passed and those things start rolling out, a lot of people who own their houses and the buildings today would panic because the taxes would be too high on pollution generating buildings. And unless you can retrofit your building, of course they're going to give incentive at the starting and say if you retrofit your building into a smart building, your window system, your doors, your technology in your house, then we're going to give you incentives, tax incentives and stuff. But eventually those would phase out, and all buildings would have to be smart buildings. In other words, real estate would eventually be subsumed and subjected to virtual reality. And the virtual space will become the most important thing in life. We will live there. We will exist there. We will do everything in virtual space. That's where value would happen. That's where worth would happen. When you work from anywhere, you just enter this virtual world, virtual rooms, virtual buildings. And so that would replace real estate. So I hope some of this today makes some kind of sense, and I just didn't ramble on, but I hope I leave with you some idea of what the quadruped life is all about, and why we invented the quadruped life, and what kind of future we're preparing for, and preparing you for, and hoping to bring you into that future. Now there's one thing I wanted to talk about, but we don't have time, we're running out of time. So tomorrow I'll talk about it, which is the solution that we came up with. We're going to talk about life principles again. Today's life principles we talk about is what is capital? It's no longer financial capital, it's human capital. What is asset? It's no longer real estate. It's your smarts and your assets as a human being. And what is your worth? Your worth is not what some corporation says you're worth. Your worth is what you decide you're worth based on your skill set, right? And based on how you self-develop. Tomorrow I want to zero in. So around all this, we developed a solution, which is a digital product. I don't like to use the word product, but a digital solution that is a very simple thing for you to live and build out your human capital and your human assets and put your worth on that thing. This thing that we built out, it's called Sims Books, and I'll talk more about it tomorrow. But we've invented this thing, developed this thing, created this thing for everybody to be able to use it and work their human capital, develop their human assets, and deploy their worth in the world in a way that they benefit in a sustainable, of course, eco-friendly and when I say sustainable, I mean for their whole life, they're able to work this thing that we develop and make a life that is the qualified life, that is the designed life, that is the life that where you're altering your future and altering the future of our communities. Okay, so hopefully you had fun on the show. I enjoyed talking to you today, and tomorrow we're back on again. So join us and have fun, have a good evening, and take care.